Yo, so I wanted to talk about my shooting form and the evolution of it. I started learning from my dad, like probably a lot of peeps. And my dad shoots like Larry Johnson from the Charlotte Hornets. He just flicks his wrist and the shot goes up, man. It's wild. There's not a lot of action, not a lot of lower body action, you know. He gets up on his tiptoes, so he's using his calves a little bit. But like, he just, and like, it just I don't know how he does it. The ball just flies up there with that flick of the wrist. And I kind of like that flick of the wrist because it feels like it gives me control over the rotation of the ball. It's the same way I throw a frisbee. I flick my wrist because I feel like I've got control over it if I can spin it a certain way and make it float. So that's how I started. And then, like age 13, I started watching Hakeem Olajuwon a lot. And Hakeem brings the ball up like right in front of his face. So I started bringing the ball up right in front of my face. And Hakeem's got good form. I think he was like a 75% free throw shooter. And so I still do this a lot. But then after Hakeem, I started going to basketball camp and like actually learning the game. And there was this coach named McGee, kind of an older guy with a mustache, good guy. And he was teaching us like proper form, like good technical form, like Michael Jordan form. He kept referring always to Michael Jordan's form with it being like technically perfect. The guide hand never moves. It's just really nice. The momentum's going in the right direction. So I started putting a little bit of that into it, into the Hakeem shot. Oop. And like, I wouldn't put it in front of my face as much. I wouldn't put it off the side of my shoulder like Larry Bird or anything. But just not so much in front of my face. And then in college, I started watching Kobe Bryant shoot, and his shot is a lot like Michael Jordan's. He was obviously watching Michael Jordan growing up, but he has more like drawback, kind of like a backswing in golf or in baseball. So there's like a rocking back and forth. It's very subtle, but I kind of like that a little bit because sometimes my shot can get to be like a little bit like a shot put sometimes. If I'm not careful, I'll just get in front of me and push it up like Dwight Howard. You know how Dwight Howard has good form, but he shoots it like a robot. So that rocking back and forth was good to give me like a little more like graceful rhythm or whatever. But there's more moving parts to that, so there's more stuff that could go wrong sometimes, but it's still good. Sometimes when I'm losing focus, if I need to like concentrate, Dirk Nowitzki does this thing where he takes his knees and like kind of knocks them together. And if I'm losing my focus and I need to get it together, sometimes I'll do that just to give me something to think about and focus on. Kevin Durant also does this thing where he like shakes his shoulder. He does like a little shoulder shimmy before he shoots. And, probably to get loose or just feel comfortable. And I started doing that lately, and I like that too. We all have our things or whatever, but I also think that the way that, at least for me, the way that I figure out my shooting form at the free throw line, it's kind of like a scientist in the lab, because it informs all the other shots I take on the floor. So, if I shoot like Hakeem Olajuwon when I'm 13 at the free throw line, it's kind of shooting like that on my jump shots too, and then et cetera throughout the years, Oh, wanted that one to go. But yeah, everybody's got to learn from somebody. You probably did too. Hope they were good.